Are there monsters, challenges that stand in the way of you becoming all that you know you can be? You know that somehow, with God's help, you just need a little push to become the very best you that you can. That's what the Way of the Warrior Saint is. It's a library filled with teachings to help us as we battle our monsters, striving to become the very best men and women that we can be, to become warrior saints. Access to the Way of the Warrior Saint library, it's only $8 a month. That's it. There's nothing to prohibit you from joining this moment. But today, we decided to offer a lesson from the library for free so you could see exactly what it is we do and then make your own decision if the Way of the Warrior Saint is for you. Enjoy the video, and we'll see you on the other side.
Hey, Warrior Saints, Father Chris here, and welcome to episode 1 of Crucifixional Leadership. Everybody knows that children have multiple stomachs, right? I mean, like, anybody with half a brain knows that. Well, until my youngest, little Miss Amelia, turned 5, I had no idea. You know, she was really a good eater, and then about 5, she stopped being a good eater. She really just wasn't a fan of dinner. She would pick here and there, but most of the time she would say, "I'm full. I'm full." And my bride and I, doting and loving parents, were concerned for her health. We wanted her to eat enough food and healthy food to maintain her growing mind and body. But no matter what we did, she would always fight and always push back. Interesting, however, that though she was always full for dinner, she was always hungry for dessert. And I thought, well, how could that be? If you don't have any room inside for dinner, how is there room for dessert? And so I decided I'd call her out on it. And I said, "Amelia, if your tummy is full for dinner, how does it have room for dessert?" Now, not to be outfoxed, my beautiful little Amelia, much smarter than I, she clearly then and calmly explained to me the concept of multiple stomachs. And she said, "Oh, Baba, it's very simple. I have a regular stomach, and I also have a dessert stomach." And I said, "A dessert stomach? I've never heard of such a thing. What is this?" She said, "Baba, it's simple. I have many stomachs inside of me, and one of them, for dessert, is the biggest one, and it's super hungry." And I said, "Oh, little Amelia, you're so sweet. My sweet little girl, you're so tiny. How do you have room inside you for all of those stomachs?" She said, "Oh, it's simple, Baba. I'm much bigger on the inside."
Great Scott!
Sound wisdom from a 5-year-old. I'm bigger on the inside. What a powerful lesson and insight into one of the most important qualities of being a crucifixional leader. Having an ethical set of guidelines, a moral code, a set of principles to rely on is essential for the crucifixional leader.
I don't get it.
What guide do we follow when things become difficult? What do we fall back on to help us make difficult and challenging decisions? It's simple. The concept of being bigger on the inside than the outside. So what do we call being bigger on the inside? Character. Come on. The word character finds its origin in the Greek charakter. And charakter means the tool that engraves, the tool that was used by sculptors. When a sculptor uses or sculpts a block of stone, he doesn't create anything ex nihilo. He doesn't create it out of nothing. But he whittles away bits and pieces to reveal the majestic beauty that is inside. Indeed, a sculptor merely finds that majestic beauty inside the rock and sets it free. Crucifixional leaders must find and set free that majesty that lies hidden within our hearts and minds. That majesty is character.
It's got all kinds of possibilities.
Your character is the way you respond to every situation in life. It's not what you sound like. It's not what you look like. Character is what you truly are. And our character is revealed to us in every decision we make. It is a constant set of actions throughout every situation in your life. And character is not made by challenging times, though it is certainly revealed in challenging times. Character is that which guides you to make decisions in difficult and challenging times. Character is the foundation and cornerstone of crucifixional leadership. To see character in context, we have to go all the way back to Chicago in 1982 and learn about something called the Tylenol murders. Around that time, people were dying in strange ways, even young people. And it was confusing what caused all these deaths until police investigators found a common link in all of the people who died. Each and every one of them had taken Tylenol very shortly before their death.
People are dead, and another is in critical condition tonight.
And as the Tylenol bottles were examined, it became clear that a murderer had poisoned many of these bottles with something called potassium cyanide. And so potent was cyanide that if you took even one pill, you would be dead within hours.
6 deaths have now been linked to the capsules, which are laced with cyanide.
In our modern corporate bottom line dominance, Johnson & Johnson, the parent company that owns Tylenol, could have easily done nothing. At the time, Tylenol owned 35% of market share for all over-the-counter pain medication. Not to mention that they had 31 million bottles of Tylenol on shelves throughout drugstores across the land. To pull those bottles, they would risk $100 million in gross revenue. Not to mention the reputation that would take a hit and the stock that would obviously plummet, affecting adversely all of their stockholders. Say what you want to say. To pull Tylenol from the shelves was not an easy decision.
We are trying to, by retrieving the drugs from the shelves, identify the extent of the distribution of the cyanide types.
Fortunately, Johnson & Johnson found it an easy decision. Johnson & Johnson acted with character. And it was easy for them to do so because character infuses all of their company. It's written into the very credo that guides every decision they make. In fact, that credo is even written on the wall in their corporate headquarters. The credo begins with the first sentence that says, "We believe our first responsibility is to the patients, doctors and nurses, to mothers and fathers, and all others who use our products and services." Because their responsibility is first to those who they serve and those who use their products, they risked financial success and adversely affecting their shareholders.
Police are even checking stock transactions to see whether someone was trying to push down the value of Johnson & Johnson stock.
And then something interesting happened. The public actually praised Johnson & Johnson for the way they handled the crisis, their accountability, and the responsibility that they took. Johnson & Johnson spent tons of money warning the public about the tampered bottles.
6 weeks to the day since the Tylenol murder story broke, Johnson & Johnson held a news conference in New York to reintroduce Tylenol.
After a massive and very expensive campaign, Tylenol eventually regained its position as the market shareholder for over-the-counter pain medication. They created something that you and I are very familiar with, tamper-proof bottles. And even in 1983, listen to this, the United States Congress passed something called the Tylenol Bill, which is federal regulation that says it becomes a crime to tamper with any consumer product. Johnson & Johnson was able to make this happen because they acted with character. They were bigger on the inside than on the outside. So what is God's input on character? God's input is that he's asking you and I, warrior saints, to be bigger on the inside than the outside. In the Gospel of Matthew chapter 23, Jesus is pretty hard on the scribes and the Pharisees. He's laying into them about some of their suspect behaviors, one of which was caring more about the outside than the inside. Jesus was slamming them because they were more interested in their reputation than their character. In verse 23, he says, "Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you cleanse the outside of the cup and of the plate, but inside they are full of extortion and rapacity. You blind Pharisees, first cleanse the inside of the cup and of the plate, that the outside also may be clean." God is not asking warrior saints to ignore our reputation. How we are perceived in the public eye is indeed important, but not at the expense of your character. God is asking us to focus on our character before our reputation. He's asking us to be bigger on the inside.
That is an IQ breakpoint, brother.
And so we find ourselves now at the practical points today on the way of the warrior saint. And first, it is that you must be very aware of what your character qualities are. In last week's episode, our introduction, we asked you to think about other people who inspire you and to notice what their qualities are that draw you to them, that what make them leaders that you want to follow. For you to be a person like that, you must be acutely aware of what your character traits are. And to do that, you have to spend a little bit of time in quiet, a little bit of time in prayer. Use that trusty warrior saint's notebook and find for yourself what are the character traits that you possess.
Your quality will be known among your enemies before ever you meet them, my friend.
Different leadership courses will tell you a multitude of things that should be in a man's character, and most of them aren't wrong. But nobody gets to decide your character except you. No one knows what lies deep within the marble of your heart better than you do. You have the opportunity to decide what are your character qualities.
Most people associate success with money and power, but really, it's a state of mind.
And I would suggest that you have one, at most 3 core qualities that drive your character. All of them matter. All of them are important, but find just a few that guide all the rest. For example, I use something I call LIT. L-I-T. It's an acronym I use to help me remember my core qualities that I want to infuse my character. L is for love. In all things, I will love. I is for inspiration. I will inspire people at every moment that God gives me breath. And T is for teach. In everything I do, whether it's in a one-on-one conversation or speaking publicly to the world, I will teach crucifixional living. The acronym LIT helps me remember that the core qualities of my character are to love, to inspire, and to teach. Who am I? Your qualities will be different than mine. I only offer these as an example for you to see that when you spend that quiet, prayerful time to discern what your character qualities are, you know that they can be things that infuse all other aspects of your decision-making, of your life, of the way you respond to challenges, of your character. The things that help you be bigger on the inside than the outside. Practical point number 2. Focus on your character, not your reputation. Like we said before, your reputation is very important. How the public sees you matters, and it should be safeguarded at the expense of nothing except character.
Fame or virtue, what are you after?
When you focus on your character, your core values will guide your actions, and your reputation will naturally fall into place. People will see the way you live your life and begin to speak about you on your terms, not on terms they want to assign to you. Dale Carnegie has this to say about character. Be more concerned with your character than with your reputation, for your character is what you are. Your reputation is merely what others think you are. So to chase your reputation at the expense of your character is ultimately to have no character at all. If you base your character on how others see you, your character will constantly be changing because people in our lives constantly change. They come in and out. The way people look at us constantly changes, and the environment around us constantly changes. In an ever-changing world, if you base your character on your reputation, you will have no character at all. Focus instead on your character, and your reputation will follow.
Hello?
Finally, practical point number 3, you have to be crucifixional in your pursuit of character. You got to face the hard things. You got to look at your monsters and say, I'm coming to get you. You have to be uncomfortable. Do things that stretch you, that move you outside of your comfort zone. Things that will make you better. Things that will make you stronger. Things that will help you become crucifixional leaders.
What do we say to the god of death?
Not today.
And you have to embrace the suffering that inevitably will come as you are striving to become a crucifixional leader. Alexis Carrel said, "Man cannot remake himself without suffering, for he is both the marble and the sculptor." If you are a sculptor, striving to set free the majesty of character that is inside you, you have to whittle away all of the excess in your life and focus on your character. Simply put, embrace what you are, not what others say you are, and become bigger on the inside. All right, great stuff today, Warrior Saints. Make sure you remember to watch this video each and every day and practice those 3 practical points in every encounter you have with other people throughout the day. Great stuff. See you next week. And until then, keep walking on the way of the Warrior Saint.
Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. Look, if you too want to become a Warrior Saint, it's really simple. Visit warriorsaints.org and subscribe to the Way of the Warrior Saint. It's really easy. It's only $8 a month, and you have unlimited access to the entire database in the library. That means you can watch all of the videos as many times as you like. Join us today. Become exactly who you are supposed to be, and we'll see you on the Way of the Warrior Saint.